So, in this video, we're going to take a look at two videos of presentations. And first we're going to kind of go through the rubric quickly, and then we'll talk about evaluation and then how we give descriptive feedback. So, starting with our first video, there we are, we're going to see a presentation in the video behind us here, and we're going to be evaluating it based on this rubric. And this is the rubric that everybody has, and this is how you're going to be evaluated yourself. So our job is to figure out if this presentation either meets expectations, exceeds expectations, partially meets expectations, minimally meets expectations, or there is no evidence shown. To qualify as no evidence shown, you'd have to do a pretty messy job, or you've really missed what we were working on. But it would be clear what things you would need to do to move to a number 1. Sometimes to move between 2 and 3, it can be a little bit tricky. So let's look at 3 first, and I'll just read this, and then we'll watch the video and we'll decide if it meets the expectations or if it needs to be somewhere below or above. So, to meet the expectations with this presentation, you need to accurately identify like terms, combine them appropriately with positives and negatives, use appropriate content area vocabulary, like term, like, coefficient, combine, absolute value. If you do those 3 things, you will meet the expectations. You would receive a 3 for your presentation. To go above and beyond that, to exceed expectations, you would need to involve additional and appropriate review vocabulary. So, if you want to go beyond, you have to think back to previous chapters and previous topics and fold in some review vocabulary as well. So let's watch this and we'll see. I may pause to discuss some things or to point out some things, but here we go.
This expression says 15x minus 5 plus 2y minus 3x plus 7 minus 6y plus 8x. I put all of the x terms in red boxes because they're the same. And I also put these ones in blue circles because they're the same, green triangles for these ones. Down here I put these two together to make it come out to 12x, and then I brought down the negative 5, I brought down the positive 2y and the positive 7 and the negative 6y and the positive 8x. Then this says 12x minus 5 plus 2y plus 7 minus 6y plus 8x. Then I brought these together, 8x and 12x for 20x, and the negative 5 and the positive 7 to positive 2, and the positive 2y and the negative 6y to negative 4y. And I can't put these together because they're all different. So I left it as 20x plus 2 plus negative 4y.
Okay, so what we have there is a presentation, and it's up to us now to decide what score this presentation should receive. So that needs to be based on the criteria that is in the rubric. So I would ask you, what do you think we should get? What do you think this presentation should receive? So think about it for just a moment. I feel pretty strongly that this presentation is a 2. And the reason that this is a 2 is because it was lacking the use of content area vocabulary. That this presentation did not use the words term, like, coefficient, combine, absolute value, constant. None of the terms that we've focused on or that we've been using throughout this chapter were used in this presentation. So here is the responsibility of the evaluator, of the person who's looking at it. And this is probably the most important part of this process. So this is the box down here for descriptive feedback. I'm going to write fairly small. So here's the box underneath that number 2. And here's what I would say to the student. Let's pretend that his name is Nick. Ha ha ha. Nick. Let's see. First I want to point out what he did correctly. So I'd say, you combined like terms accurately and identified all there we go, like terms. Now, this is the biggest part of descriptive feedback. I need to let him know how to take this presentation from a 2 to a 3. Remember, it was about vocabulary, so what I would say is, could you include content area vocabulary? Mr. Mazaglia. And what I've just done is I've given this person a score, and more importantly, I've given them the direction to improve that score, and that's what this is all about. How to move from a 2 to a 3. And if you're ever not sure about how to do that, it's usually right in the language here. So if a 2 says you are lacking the use of content area vocabulary, and 3 says that you need to use appropriate content area vocabulary, that gives you your instruction right there. But I'm also taking a moment to provide you with some feedback here. So I hope that is helpful. That is the evaluation.